All right, all right. Here we go.
It's round two.
Yo. Thank you for bearing with me through, yet again some
Technical difficulties.
those familiar with the Fake Truth show know that technical difficulties and the show sort of go hand in hand. Part of the show. I mean, there's many different sort of facets to the show that is a weird show. But I'd say, we're trying to work through our problems and sort of do it out in the open without hiding behind, a feeling or some other, we're not trying to hide stuff here. It's the unvarnished truth. That's what we're trying to get after. And so the unvarnished truth is that, it did not have the Ethernet cable plugged in to that laptop. And I was getting some real dark color. So, I appreciate Eric Elliott. What is up? Kelly Kubo. Is it Kibo or Kubo? Or Kabu? Which one is it? Thanks for coming back. I appreciate that. Eric's asking if I moved. Yes, I indeed moved. If by moved you mean left the country, definitely living in Germany these days. Definitely not in Los Angeles in any meaningful way. Not for the past couple months. Akebo, she comes through with an answer. Awesome. See, isn't that cool? Like you can ask a question, you can do your research, and sometimes you can really get to the bottom of things. You can really find out. Like, it is Kebo. I like it. Okay, so tell me about it. Yeah, and I'm not gonna say, I don't miss LA. There's a lot of amazing things about LA, and that's where I grew up. That's where I did all my life things, learning to drive and girlfriends and all that kind of life stuff. So that's all LA is always gonna be home. But I would encourage everybody, even if it's only for like a week, to get out of America, because it will be mind blowing. Like, no matter who you are and what stage of life you are in, like, it is, I think, pretty important if you're living in America to experience other ways of life. Right, especially European way of life is very mild. It's not like I don't know, going to live in the bush or something, but still totally worth it to see that things can be done differently, right? And also just to take a step away from the info flood. There really is, right? the same way we talk about the U.S. military being sort of disproportionate to the rest of the world, the U.S. media and entertainment arm is just, it's extremely disproportionate. America's cranking out so much more content than everybody else, and that obviously has a net effect on everybody's psyche, just being so inundated by high quality, well researched propaganda can just be, yeah, very draining. Very draining. Yeah. So everybody's got their own journey, but that's my words that I just said. Now you're seeing this frame here because I'm always just picking up random pieces of experience and somehow just sort of recombining that to find something meaningful there. I just started watching this second season of the show. I'd probably have to do a whole episode on it. What is called Salvation. It's on Netflix, and it's all about how, surprise, surprise, there's a big asteroid coming towards Earth, and it's going to dominate and destroy everything and everybody, unless some smart scientists can band together and figure it out, right? And in this scenario, which again is the lesson that we're being constantly taught. I mean, we'll see in the other sort of war-related topics that we're looking at, that we're being painted, the picture is being painted for us that the superpowers, the world powers they can't control themselves. They're just, they're not making good decisions, just fighting about stuff. And I don't know, in general, just being jerks, breaking the environment. What else do superpowers do in 2020? They subjugate other states. Just sort of, I guess, in general, spread tyranny through the land. It's definitely like the big guys doing that. Anyway, so in this show, they people are worried about the asteroid. There's some fighting, I don't know, at the end of the season, and it ends up, Russia shoots like 12 ICBMs at America, and they're gonna destroy everything in America with those ICBMs. But luckily, this hacker collective jumps in and disables most of them and blows one up in the center of America. And right, I'm synopsizing at this point, but it's I think all part of my grand thesis that there really is only one story. It's all just the same story about us, about our actual history, and about what is most likely going to happen, or at least what they want us to believe is going to happen. Because, right, everywhere from Fortnite to music videos to, entire TV shows, asteroid impact is a hot topic. And something that if you live in the Western world, you've been familiarized with, right? There's certain topics and ideas that if you do live in the Western world and were even remotely educated, or I don't know, grew up, like there's certain pieces of information that you really have no way around getting. And right, it goes away to the bottom, these basic concepts of just basic human things: mother, father, sheep, son, just the basic list of things. And some of those things that are really important on the whoever the powerful people are, that some of those things are on that list, that feel like, yeah, it's really important that everybody knows what's happening with this idea, how people would or should react in that scenario. Because that's the crazy thing. If you've seen people going through a certain situation on TV or on the news or in any sort of scenario, right, all behavior really is learned. And that's a sort of another question, I guess, how deep that really goes. But right? We have to learn how to think about asteroids. That's not something you're born with. And then you, I guess, start to realize how important all these TV shows and information really is. And yeah, I want to get to the news, but I wanted to just bring you this other random piece of information. Another really good channel, we should probably pull it up, is Conspiracy R Us. Right, so sort of a strange name, but if you do know, if you're anywhere near the mud flood community, Conspiracy R Us has some very very good research that he does, and only seems to really release stuff that is sort of well thought out and documented, right? In pretty stark contrast to this channel, actually. But I appreciate all different ways of being creative, and this guy just really does good research. And this most recent video was about concrete and how sort of the knowledge of making concrete was lost for thousands of years, and then found again, and then lost again. And right there's always a lot of just back and forth. There's no real knowing what's going on with the mud flood, whether this really is from some ancient culture or otherwise, whether it's all just a simulation and they just simulated these things there way back at the beginning and then hit the fast forward button and let them age or whatever. But I'm always trying to find, like, right, for normal people, when I'm talking to people out in the world or about this kind of stuff, just mentioning it. What are the quick go-tos, right? What are the quick smoking guns? The ways that you can easily introduce some doubt maybe into people's minds about the nature of history and their reality and all that sort of thing, right? And I don't know, just looking at this picture, I'd say Fort Jefferson's a pretty strong contender. I mean, again, all hail the hexagon. They obviously, the ancients like knew what was up with the hexagon, and which makes even more sense that it's seeded all over culture and entertainment. There really must be some sort of actual power there, as opposed to just being religious symbology and hive mind card sort of stuff. So there's got to be something more to the hexagon, because you definitely do see it in a lot of these star forts. Right, but it's 16 million bricks, and it's out here like on some not even island, like one of these barely sticking out of the water kind of islands, and it's way like off to the side. It's got this moat kind of thing, and I mean, I don't want to steal all of his ideas, but Mr. Conspiracy RS was saying, like, yeah, none of this stuff is local even to the area. Like, they would have had to boat it in or bring it in some other way. And like a public works project like this, it just seems like utter madness. Like, this is on the scale of building that protection for Venice, like something just out in the ocean and giant and really hard to make. And here it is, just sort of chilling, just laying the cut. Am I allowed to say that? Is that did I offend you? Bear with me here. Bear with me. So this is coming out, I guess, a couple hours ago. Let's hit that refresh button and see if we have any mind-bending news that has happened in the recent hours. I guess just more fake drama in over there. But I guess we're getting proof that Iran was actually the people that shot down that Ukrainian plane, and right, a bunch of different people on that plane. Very, very sad, 170,000 people. But just, when you're trying to get emotional, I would remind everybody to go and just peruse that Operation Northwoods document one more time. This is exactly the type of scenario that is documented in that document. What they would do with the plane and all the different options really that you have if you want to create a political, sort of event with an airplane. You can actually blow up the people. That's definitely an idea. But you can also, right, divert the plane, change tail numbers, put in a dummy plane, divert the passengers other different ways, right? There's a lot of different ways to get those people off that plane to keep them alive. Or you can just kill them, right? That's sort of, it really is so hard even for me to swallow after all this time sort of swimming in the nonsense, the darkness of apparently what real reality is. But the fact that, they're really powerful people, killing 170 is not a big deal. Like that's something you would do like on the regular. 170 people really is not that many people in the scheme of, the 7 billion, 8 billion, I guess approaching 8 billion people that we got. It's really not that big of a deal. And if it was really going to cause a stir and head, if it was part of your plan to on the way to some goal, killing 170 people is not, it's not even like a blip, I would think, for some master of the universe. I mean, I sort of picture being at that scale. I can't really know what that's like, but I could picture it going down like that. And we're like, yeah, no, let's shoot the plane down. It's actually, we're gonna get the most bang for our buck. Sorry, no pun intended there, but we better go with that. Okay, what's for lunch? Actually, can we get Postmates? Can we get? No, I don't want fucking tacos again. Right? They gotta just have these meetings. Although who would say who doesn't want tacos? Man, I want tacos. Speaking of LA, that's one thing I miss. Give me some tacos. Some like actual street tacos from the truck. Wait, just got a little sidetracked there. So let's just run through these real quick, because all of these things are worth talking about in their own sense, right? Not that I'm a Ruth Bader Ginsburg expert. I haven't really been following everything in her life. It's funny, in that show, I should probably screen grab that shit. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is in the scripted Salvation asteroid show, being portrayed as one of the Supreme Court justices, right? She really is sort of a folk figure, folk hero. And I guess the linchpin in the Supreme Court, holding everybody together there. And I know that rich people in general just sort of live in a different universe, and that right, if you do have access to the best doctors and all that kind of stuff, that maybe you can do something like this. But apparently this is the third time that she no longer has pancreatic cancer. And I'm not, again, like a cancer expert, but I was pretty sure that was like one of the bad ones, like one of the not living very long and then dying like a really high percentage of the time. But she seems to have just defeated it over and over again. And it sort of reminds me, I mean, I always got to think of, I guess this is how my brain works, but I think of, a big political figure that has cancer and then was able to get through it or live much longer than your average bear. And I would think of John McCain with his weird brain cancer. And I guess that eventually got to him, but brain cancer is definitely like, I guess it depends on the type of brain cancer, but it seems pretty like debilitating, like rough, something you would not want to just be walking around the Senate floor with and just chilling, but he seemed to just beast through all that didn't really seem to bother him, and seems sort of the same with Ms. Ruth here. Like, she definitely getting sick every once in a while. I've been seeing that. Oh, she missed a day here, I missed a day there. Had to go get surgery. She was feeling a little dizzy, but I mean, I feel like I feel like I wouldn't even. I would definitely not like go to work at that stage, right? That would not be my jam personally. But I see, she's got the higher calling and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, just how is this really possible? Right? They found the tumor in July, obviously at this very good medical facility. But they find it, it's malignant, and then they're still able to just get it. She's cancer free. So maybe she's just gonna live for a super long time. And just, I guess, to remind everybody that's keeping score, everybody that's in the Ruth Bader Ginsburg cancer score squad. In 2018, surgeon removed 2 malignant nodules from Justice Ginsburg's left lung and determined that the cancer had not spread. In 2009, she had surgery for early stage pancreatic cancer. In 1999, she was treated for colon cancer without missing a day on the bench, right? And a lot of this, that's a big part of her image, is that she's just hardcore, just much more hardcore than your grandma or just anybody's grandma. Like she just will not stop. That's exactly the kind of powerful, strong-willed female that is just like sort of the icon for this era. I would say this powerful female era that we're living in. Right, and that's what it's saying here. The 5-year survival rate of pancreatic cancer that's localized at 37%, right? Most people die after 5 years. Much more than half. But somehow she was able to just beast it. Right? And apparently it hasn't spread to other ways. It's just, I guess she's just really doing it right. And maybe I shouldn't be so mistrustful. Maybe there's things I'm missing here. But I just don't believe a damn word any of them say anymore. Right? Because all of this seems to just be like, I guess they needed to up the ante. But all of this just seems like total just rhetoric, what do you want to call it? Like a fireworks show for the beginning of the year, a little Sylvester party going down in the army. Like they were watching all those fireworks and we're like, damn, we want to set off some fireworks too. Like let's do this thing, right? And again, with the same sort of balance of life discussion, right? Killing one general or not. You could kill him. You could also let him, escape and spend the rest of his days on some island. Or you could just keep him in a black site and torture him. Like everything's on the table, and whatever is sort of the most convenient or, fits the best into the grand scheme is going to be done. And I think that was made pretty clear, just even more out in the open these days. That right, Mr. T-Man was sort of given this option: should we strike him or should we not? And he was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's get him. And everybody's like, but no, we're supposed to stand. Like that wasn't really part of the plan. And then he's just like, no, fuck it. Let's just get this bitch. And then things go back to normal-ish. Right? I mean, I guess we'll see where this all heads. But that's just the general vibe these days. Like, or at least not even these days. It's like today. Maybe this will be different tomorrow. And they could throw something else into the mix. But the nobody really seems too mad about that shot down plane. I guess Ukraine is a little mad, but most people are not that mad. And I guess we're just gonna let it ride. I mean, I guess everybody's following this story pretty closely. But right, I guess that's why that's the title of the episode. But World War III is definitely seems to be canceled for the moment. Canceled like a celebrity that said something offensive against women. Speaking of offensive things, Arizona official resigns after allegations he paid women to give up their babies. And I guess this would be in the adrenochrome is real. The rich really are harvesting babies to either eat or drink their blood or just, used for slave labor. Like there's so many like good uses, like so many different uses for a human child. A lot of things you could do with a little baby. And I'm just right, obviously being hypothetical here, but I think that's how they think. That it's that complete disregard for the value of human life that we've all been sort of indoctrinated to not have. Right? It really is everything in school and books and culture is meant to give you that feeling like you have to respect your common man. You have to do unto others and all that kind of stuff. Like it goes so deep into everybody's moral fibers going back generations. This is not how you treat other human beings because you would not want your baby trafficked. That's not what anybody, and that's not what any parent would possibly want. So then you have a hard time believing that anybody else could be capable of something that dark. When in reality, there are people out there that did not have that training, right? They had different training. They had the training that desensitizes you, that gets you prepared to see the world, I guess they would say, as it really is, that we have to think of the greater good, that the morality is relative, and that we have to do whatever it takes to stay on top and get it out there, basically. A disaster from Maricopa County. That's so familiar. This county, right? Wasn't there all that other drama going on with some other? Well, now I gotta look that one up. I gotta look that one up, guys. Wasn't there like a penal colony? Oh, look at this mud flood architecture. Is that? Is that? Now we're really getting distracted here. Is that some mud flood? It's possible. No, Maricopa. Wasn't it some scandal? Typing skills. I have them. I have to think about that for a second. Um, Anyways, this county in Arizona, this person resigned months after he was invited in a human trafficking scheme that allegedly involved paying women to give up their babies. This dude announced his resignation in a statement, arguing he was an innocent man, but the media and the board of supervisors have presumed my guilt rather than my innocence. Pleading guilty. And I don't know, dog. We got some important numbers being used. 70 instances. That's a lot. Authorities say there were at least 70 instances in which he paid women to place their babies for adoption in Arizona, Utah, and Arkansas over a 3-year period. So, right, I guess you got to stay above board. You you got to still put these kids through the proper channels. But if you're able to, I guess get control of the birth parents, that you can guide this kid through the system, and have it end up being where you want it to be, slash disappeared at a certain point. Because that's weird, right? That you would pay somebody to give them up for adoption. You would think, what is this person getting out of that? Human smuggling, Arkansas, and this is like in a multi-state thing. In the article, it makes it seem like, oh, this is just a dude in this county, but we're going across state lines here. Utah, Arkansas, and again with Arkansas, the Clintons, CIA. There's so much shady shit going on over here. So no surprise seeing that state here on this list. So dark. Why is it so dark, man? This is a dark show. Got a little dark. Sorry, guys. What can I do? Defrauding of almost $1 million. Says he applied for state-funded health care for women. And charged in all these different counties, right? And that's, again, in the age of no attention span. The end of the article. Authorities say that women received little to no prenatal care. But, I mean, I don't know what else, right? Those are the tags. Human trafficking. Marshall Islands. Why is that in here? Oh, interesting. Wait, I didn't read that part. Suspended without pay by the county in October after being accused of participating in a scheme to bring women from the Marshall Islands to the U.S. to give birth and place their babies for adoption. Citizens of the Marshall Islands are prohibited from traveling to the U.S. for adoption purposes. So, why would that be the case? What's so special about these people on that island? Why aren't they allowed to do that? I don't think I have an answer for you.
Yeah, that's right. It seems like every door you open, there's another question right behind it. Like, what the hell is going on those islands? What's so special about those babies? I don't know.
All right. Well, another show, another day. What is even happening? I know we all got to just do our best to basically not ignore, but let all of this like info just pass through you. In that sense, I almost think it's smart to take a clue from those adrenochrome drinking elite masterminds, because if you want to get through life and sort of dominate, or at least keep your sanity about you, you got to stay cool. You can't let things just get you all emotional. Even when it is human trafficking and selling of children and false wars and lying politicians and faked history. Jeez, what else did we talk about? I should try to do a more uplifting show. The good things happening out there. But it's difficult to report on, because I have no doubt that a lot of people are enjoying their lives, having good times, and just doing that. But a lot of that goes undocumented. A lot of that just happens around the dinner table at certain moments, and you're not able to. It doesn't get crystallized, and then right as it isn't useful to this whole system, then you end up getting it ends up getting pushed to the side, right? Good news is not helpful in this grand push towards, well, I don't know, collective action. Something, we're all in this together, something, we're going to kill you because you didn't do your recycling properly, that kind of thing. And right, we have to get to that stage while enjoying it, while welcoming it on, while just pulling that towards you. That yes, I think the death penalty should be instituted for crimes in recycling.
Yeah, that's the end of the show. That's the end of the show. It's been real, guys. Don't do anything I would.
It's the fake truth show is over. End of the truth show.
Okay, that's enough. Turn it off. Wait, my mouse.